And I realised I had to get a special connector. The team got me a connector, but it's the wrong one. So I needed a lightning connector. That's the problem with using Apple. You have to buy the latest thing. So I got my lightning connector. And then connecting in, should come on, it was on earlier. So I'm doing it live straight away. So you can see I'll be tipping up to the lecture. Come deliberately with nothing else except a plug and my lead. And so the first thing I want to do is just make sure that I get in. I set my iPhone up so it's got 5 minutes on the screen. The last thing you want to do is in the middle of the lecture, after 30 seconds, it's cutting out, and then you have to go through the startup screen and put your code in again. Quite embarrassing. So have it set up there, and what I've done now is I need to just find something to make it go. It'll go that way. So this is you need a little holder for it, you see. So hopefully it will stay like that. So I did it on a Prezi. You also see that my Twitter and Gmail is going through as well, so which is quite interesting because I have done it with students. I tested out with students and I've got a bit of interaction on the Twitter, but the reality now is the iPhone is powerful enough for most presentations. That's what I found with it. And what we're looking at now is you've got the regular software from your PC Mac world, so you've got to try and bring that onto the iPhone. So you've got your PowerPoint, and you've got your Keynote. So that's going to be coming through. But you've got cloud-based, and you've noticed already I'm using Prezi. I find Prezi is updating itself all the time. I noticed a couple of things already being put onto the iPhone app on it. And Google Docs. I use Google for various things, but I haven't used Google Docs that much. It sort of froze up Google Docs. But there's a presentation bit on that. A bit more about Google later. And then there's mobile-based software that I've delved into. Some I know. So the first one I've come across is Haiku. I haven't used that one, but I picked that up on my searches around. Slide Rocket I have used. And the other one is Quick Office, which has now just been brought out by Google Docs. So it used to be Quick Office Pro, and it gave you all the functionality of your Microsoft. But that's, I noticed, only just been recently brought out. Slide Rocket's been brought out by a marketing firm, and Slide Rocket was a simple cloud-based, you store it up in the cloud. And then there is other ones that I've discovered which look interesting, but as I say, I haven't really had much of a go. There's Electric Slide, so that I could be doing this with you, and then all your devices would be actually mirroring what I have. I haven't registered with Electric Slide. I just looked at the blurb on the front, but it looks an interesting aspect that you can then be controlling other people's phones from it. So that's what you're doing, and really the one that I'm basing myself on is Prezi. But I do have some keynotes, I do have some PowerPoints, and the world is based around that, mainly PowerPoint based, so have a little look at that. The other thing is, we're now on storage. I always find it really interesting from the IT point of view here, that really, the BBC Click said, everyone is now walking around with the most powerful computer, and therefore you can outdo or do inadvertent things that I have done with that most powerful computer. And no longer do I have to worry about logging into the university system, because I can use Box, I can use Drive, I can use SkyDrive, which was set up on my new Windows machine, or Dropbox. And I've been with Dropbox for quite a while now. I'm up to about 6 gigs of space because so many people have been invited to be sharing it with it. So I use the Dropbox most of all. And there are others. Now this is where we lead to the demonstration. This is where it gets a bit frightening. Will it work? Now Cloud On is a free app. You download it from the App Store. And what you can do with Cloud On is that it will ask you which applications you wish to link to. I've selected Dropbox, or it could be another cloud drive you put onto. And then you can launch any Microsoft application, your iPhone or iPad, with controls. Now I've found out that I've got a lecture about half a gig. It fell over on that one. But I've put one in that's a little bit less complicated, and let's see if we can get Cloud On to go. So I've got to go now to my Cloud On, which I've got to find out where it is. Click on it. And now I'm into Cloud On, logging in. I'm actually in my Dropbox now. So Cloud One's put me into my Dropbox. And this is my teaching for the prosthetics unit for the students. So this one is a fairly clean version. So that's now going to download. Now this is what the sort of downloading speed you'll get over with your iPhone over doing all this live. I just looked at it last night, that's why I went pointed straight into that part of the Dropbox. And you see, it's just a little while to get to that last bit as we're talking. So you need to have it loaded up. This is where you've got some time to kill. It's not as fast as you say now. So here we are. I have it there. I've got to just tip it so that it knows it's going the right way. I did do quite a high-profile presentation at Philips headquarters in Amsterdam, and I got through 75% of the lecture, and then Prezi had a bug in it that kept it stuck in the vertical. So all the audio was turning their head around that way. But in fact, it actually enhanced the presentation. But that's the sort of bug I've encountered doing this. Now you can see it's a little bit. The thing that I can do, if it allows me to, there's somewhere in here I can get all the controls. And I'm just trying to find out where the controls are. And I've got to go back into that. Oh, sorry. It does have the full controls, and I've forgotten which thing I've got to load it all up again, unfortunately. So it'll come down again, and I'll just see where the control is, because you get some PowerPoint controls on it as well. There they are. Oh, you just saw them. So you've got some PowerPoint controls with it. I've not really used it that much in anger, but I was quite intrigued that I can see everything here, so I can go through everything. I can click to my notes. I can change the layout, so all that's coming on fully functional. My thumb's finding a bit tricky with it, but you can see that I've got all the PowerPoint and also all the Microsoft Excel and also the Word as well. So quite a powerful thing, a little bit slow and clunky, but you can see that we can go back into the show, and it's going through all the different people in the department, the clinic timings, the nurses, and all the documentation. Now I've got a little bit of interaction coming up here on this. I think that's going to come up. These are all things that we do with the students. Now here's a bit of interaction. So it has got a bit of a display coming up. So that is the iCloud working. So now I've got to go back to my Prezi. I'm back on there. You can run it straight from Dropbox. So you can go to your Dropbox account and run it straight from there. And when you go into Dropbox, you've got to use the Open In, and really it's a preview button. It's not giving you all the functionality of Microsoft Office, but it's a preview. So if I go back into my Dropbox and find where Dropbox is, pull that up, there we are. I've come straight into it. But it's a bit like using an Adobe. You're having to scroll through it. But some of you might have simple ones and find that quite useful. So that's another way that you can go straight from your Cloud On, but it's not giving you the particularly easy way of the show function that you have. So let's go to the next one, and Keynote. I was on a discussion, you can see what I mean, you have to just make sure you're going the right way. Now you notice I'm stuck. So it's happened, there's a bug in it somewhere that stops me doing this, and I've tried a couple of times to see how this bug happens. So it's a Prezi bug. So what I'm going to have to do is, I'm glad you've seen it straight away, because it's stuck on my one now, you see. And it wasn't happening last night, and I don't know what, so it is definitely a bug. So what we'll do is we'll kill everything. The other thing is, using a mobile phone under pressure when things aren't going, it's a bit more natural because you're using it all the time. There we are, so I'm back into line again. So I'll just hopefully, you can see that swapping in between the things is what's causing the problem. I also don't, with this Prezi, have a line that I can drag through. And I'm going to drop out of it again, so we'll probably end up doing the same again. Suffice to say, Keynote will open everything in. It's quite a fully functional one. It is a bit cumbersome if you want to run it from iTunes, but you can open it up through Dropbox, because I've opened it up through Dropbox as well. I went on a discussion board, well, Facebook account, and someone was saying what they should use. And I said I'm doing this lecture, I could use a cloud on or a cloud on. And about 20 people just said Keynote, 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 Keynote. So I hit all the Mac enthusiasts who came through. And Keynote, so let's just see what happens if when we come back to that. So I've got to find out where I put Keynote now. And this is where I tend to, I've probably thrown it away, I probably passed it without seeing it.
Yeah, you did. That one.
That one, there it is. Thank you. Now you notice one of the things I'm going to put the advantages, having your mobile phone up there, everyone's intrigued to see what's on your mobile phone.
That's really good.
This is a lecture I do on CVs to the students, and you can see that one of the problems I noticed in this is that I use a fancy font with it. You can't embed fonts in Keynote, and so I have to go back and take this font called Andy that I quite like, and then put everything. So if we look at if you play it, my font's not quite right. Also, that's an animation. I've nicked that from the web. Should be saying that, shouldn't I? But it's not for general consumption. But that is a Flash file, and Flash doesn't play only at once. So you've got to watch that you've got any fancy animations. So there you can see my should be unique, short, positive, good impression, but not like misleading boast and have coffee stains on. So that's a sort of a CV lecture that I can do. It's got a bit more animation, but it's just about passable with the mobile phone on that. Now let's see if Prezi will behave itself again. Oh, it'll stay the same. So I quite like Prezi because it's cloud-based and can be downloaded to the iPhone. It's nice for short presentations. Some of the larger PowerPoints have been a real nightmare to convert, and I give up after a while. So, if you're presenting, and here I am presenting, but I didn't use the iPhone in this one, but a few things. The world is PowerPoint, so if you go to any lectures and you want to look fancy, exciting, they will throw up their hands when you turn up with an iPhone. Access on the internet may not be possible. I learned that to my cost. So I went down to a showcase down at Excel Centre and had no internet. I had to download a desktop Prezi. I wasn't using my phone. But as you can see, Twitter and other social media for feedback can be done. People like looking to see what apps you have, but because you're cutting edge, you're going to hit bugs. I already saw that bug, which could be quite bad. I've the first time been able to work out, just shut everything down, start again. Remember to put your phone screen on setting to 5 minutes so that it doesn't change on you. And bring along your iPhone 5 charging lead, which I have in here. I've got the plug and that. And this connector has another charger here, so I can be charging it on the go. I can plug in the sound if I want to as well. Now, I haven't done anything on Android phones because I don't own one. So that's a challenge for someone to look at what's happening with the Android. Because if you go on the Google Play and I open, oh sorry, that's the next one. I've got a pointer. I've got a laser pointer, but the only trouble is, I could put the laser. You can put the laser pointer in here, and therefore I've never tried this before. Come out and then go on to my. Where's the laser pointer here? But the only trouble is I can't run the I can't do the presentation now. So I've got the laser pointer, and that's really good, and that looks really trendy, but I can't do the presentation. So I'd have to go back to be using my laptop for that one. So there are little gizmos you can buy to do, oh sorry, I should be able to, I'm clicking on things to open. So Google Play is one, the Android, there are links, and if I click on here, I can bring up Google Play, and there's loads of Android apps with presentations, slideshow, office presentations, and that. I don't know how you connect on the iPhone with the connection to the projector. I assume it must be straightforward. There's some knocking around on eBay that I already saw. So that, again, challenge for someone else to have a look at. Just the point of it was on there. The other thing I was going to show you is that the resolution with the iPhone can be very good. So if I just bring my pictures up, and I'm just going to bring up my Flickr. I've got a picture of the clock tower, and I can show you that. So if we look at the clock tower here, fairly good resolution on the screen. So I'm bringing it. I can't hold it there for very long, so I'm pinching it. But you can see that you can get it's not bad with the colour on it, and that's just with the using this projector and the iPhone. So it's pretty good on that side of things. Short and sweet. I think that right at the end on that, I think I knocked it out because what I wanted to show at the end, if I go through all the stuff. This will be available after the talk as well. If I come to there, so we're nearly at the end. What I've done is I've given you links to the presentation software, to Haiku, Slide Rocket, Quick Office, Electric Slide Net. Those are the ones dedicated to it. And also, if you want to know, for those guys here, they're going to have people turning up. There's what the lightning connector is. It's 40 quid. Apple do sting you for a little bit, but apparently it's a full computer in here. If you go in, I got lost in the internet, and they're saying that someone's broken one of these open, and it's got a little chip in to control. I think it's to control the streaming that goes through and make sure that Apple products are. I think it filters out AirPlay. I don't understand it, but so those are some links for you. And that's presenting from the iPhone. So I hope you found it useful. There's not much more else I can talk about other than give you the experiences. So open for any questions. The students have certainly had it, and it went down with a real wow cool factor. So I've done that with the Prezi, and I've done it, as I say, in a conference, and it went slightly wrong on me, but it was really, again, cool wow factor, because everybody else was turning up with their Macs or their laptops and having the technician. I just turned up, took my iPhone out of my pocket, connected it, and it just sort of blew the audience away, straight away. So.
Would you mind just leaving that page of links up on screen?
The previous one.
All right.
So, that's it. Any questions?
Yeah, I was just going to say, if the lecture theatre and Apple TV's installed, then you could potentially use the iPhone without having to connect it to any wires and allow you to roam around the theatre, maybe pass on the device to students and peers.
I don't know if you could move around. I mean, I am tied to this.
Yeah.
I mean, you can put the sound in. The sound works really well, so I can put the sound in, but you're a bit stuck with that. You haven't got any remote control. I assume it's all going to come.
Well, look, so if you've got an Apple TV and which is connected to your projector,
Okay.
you can connect to that Apple TV wirelessly.
You can see that anywhere, Dal. I've never been to a conference yet
Yeah.
where Apple TV is available for
It's a big potentially what they're looking to install in the actual rooms.
Yeah, it would be useful.
Yeah. And then you can pass on the devices to your peers.
Students. I mean, I think, yeah, I agree, Damien. It is a cool thing, but if you can't move around, it's
No,
limiting.
that's the
It's
problem.
very, very limiting, isn't it, for an expressive presentation. You want to go into the audience or something.
It's more able to move around on a laptop, for instance.
No, yes, you can't. Yes, you can't do.
But not your presentation on a stick with a remote controller that's the size of that, and then walking about. That's the.
I assume there'll be something come. I mean, I'm not seeing much on the internet about people trying to do this. I mean, I'm pushing it right to its limits, and there's some big files on the Dropbox. But the very fact that you can store things on the move and it's all on your phone. I did have the Liverpool Convention Centre were fascinated with Prezi, but I had to go into the control box and log in with my password onto the internet in the control box, and then they could then pipe it down to the lectern. So that was a bit difficult. So cloud computing, you've got to have a password, and assume you've got to have, or you've got to have the laptop in front of you. And then another time when I tried to use Prezi, I used it in France and then hit a French keyboard, and I was under stress and I couldn't find the right letters, and let alone if I'd been in somewhere like the Russian or Greek keyboard, I'd have been in a mess. So having the password when you're under pressure, even though it's a simple password, I have to remember that sort of thing can happen to you. So those are the bits to it.
It's more a comment in terms of leap forward and bring your own device when you are coming to, as a technical support as well. It can be very frustrating when people bring different formats, different things put down there. It very rarely works straight away like that. And whether the control you have when you bring your own device into the presentation is really an advantage.
I mean, the cloud is basically taking it over. I mean, I think Microsoft and the keynotes are being driven from the laptop situation downwards, and I think the Prezi, even though it's a bit homespun in parts, is a ground-up application built for mobile computing. So I think I've shown everything that you can just about do there. I don't know how it's interesting that this one's been bought up by Google Docs. It's been bought by a company. I mean,
Quick Office has been around since 2000, and when I was working like Windows CE, they were around at that time. So
sorry, I was missing that.
Quick Office have been around since Windows CE mobiles.
Oh, right.
Those sort of things like that when running stuff on that Symbian.
So Clear Slides acquired Slide Rocket. So that's the one that seems to be a business one. And that Slide Rocket hadn't been around for very long. I've seen some people. So, and the Google Docs one, Quick Office. So that's the one. So Google plus Quick Office is now part of Google family. And then the other one, this one looked a really interesting one to explore. And it's not, for some reason, oh, there it is. So electric slide, it's again just doing that, but I think show yourself on any web browser, control using device.
David, that one looks really interesting. I mean, do you know when it's been uploaded to or mirrored on everybody else's device that they can keep it, or
I don't. It doesn't.
No.
I'm not sure. I only just really discovered it in my research of this lecture. I was looking around and I found this one.
There's a Collaborate one called. There's one like that called Collaborate. Where you can keep that out from.
I think you've also got the option to record each presentation. Some of the apps allow you to record presentation audio.
I don't know if I might have downloaded it onto my. I think I did. Did I download it on the? No, I didn't have it. But I try and look to see what else there was. But the Twitter was the interesting one, because I did have, and it was first years. 2 first years did start talking in Twitter, and then got a little bit embarrassed because the rest of the audience sort of laughed about it. But it's the first time I've had students bold enough to come in, do a Twitter on interaction. I don't know if many have done much in the medical school on interaction with Twitter. No.
We're aware we could try it. I don't think anyone's been bold enough yet.
Not in a live lecture, I think.
But you can see it's all coming up as you go along with it, and that's the beauty of it. So, don't think much else to really show other than what my apps are.
The interesting thing, I'm David, from a, speaking, from a director of education role, is that the university is moving towards recapturing the lecture space for
Yes.
all this kind of thing. But the problem is, we have a long way to go to convince people who aren't in this room at this moment anyway, generally, that they've got to move away from the didactic PowerPoint. Because once we still have that, none of this will ever happen. And
No.
I've got to work with everybody, in the college really, to ensure that we do go this way. Because until that happens,
I mean,
nobody's going to have to.
we're really adopters.
And know how to use their mobile devices, and the students will never adopt. And if it's just an odd person, I don't mean odd in the sense of an individual person doing it, they will generally find that hard to deal with, and feedback can be quite.
I've had harsh feedback on
Yeah.
the Prezzies. Initially, the students said that there was a bit of a deputation that Prof Walmsley's using Prezzies, and they wanted me to use PowerPoint because they were being cheated. They weren't getting the same information with the Prezzi as they were with the PowerPoint. Yet, a couple of students, I've noticed another batch of students are starting to now use it in presentations around the school, and I've had a couple of comments coming back. So it's always early adoption. People don't like change, and they like the linear aspect of the PowerPoint, but then when you throw it up on a...
So, I was wondering if any students have been able to use feedback, or let's say do some work and be able to take their device up and plug it in and present their own work and be used in that sort of way.
Yeah. Sorry, I was
And in terms of presentation,
Yeah.
involving students to come up, being able to show their work,
Yeah, that one.
evaluate or do some sort of presentation very quickly. Have you tried?
Yes, I do that. I mean, one of the things I do in my tutorials is the students have got to find an article and critique the article and throw it up. Many of them still use the PowerPoint on it, but try and push them to do. I mean, one of the things that I've used Prezi for that you might find interesting, but I can't do it for copyright reasons other than just to show it you here, is that if I come out of this. This is a Prezi presentation to the students to show them how to critique a lecture, a paper. So I want them to read the paper and where to get how to take through the paper and pick out certain things as we're going through the paper. And that is good. But I mean, of course, I'm breaking copyright. This is all behind my password. So that's one way of doing it. And the other way that I'm trying to get students to think about, oh sorry, I'm not using this as the right way. I'm trying to break out of the Prezi, so I can't remember how I do it now. Okay, so the other ways I do it is I tend to do it rather like dentistry at Birmingham. So this one was I did for some visitors coming, and I showed this to Claire, and this is a way of how to make the images come down and show the and this is just to give them a quick look through the college, which is and then where dentistry is and what we do, our new dental school, what it's going to look like. And so you're jumping around, but the main thing is I keep the image through it. But that's just me. So try and engage the students by doing that.